Hi, everybody. Hello. I'm excited to see you guys tonight, as I am every night. So, as you're coming in, again, I'm going to try to hit it and quit it in 45 minutes to an hour. You guys know I don't try to be on here long. Tonight is Ask Dr. C. Tag, like, and share. I'm really excited about what we're going to talk about tonight because it's going to be what you guys want to talk about, which I think is always really awesome and cool. So tag, like, share, write a comment, let me know where you're from. You could start sending questions too if you want to, because I know some people have been inboxing me and sending me things, and I just felt like, why not just go live and do the questions live? One, because I believe I don't need preparation. If I don't know the answer, I'm going to tell you that I don't know the answer. However, if I do know the answer, it is time for me to kind of share my knowledge and my wisdom with you guys on tonight. So write your comments, let me know where you're from. I know when I was on here the other week, I was having a problem seeing comments. And so I'm also have my MacBook and my phone and my tablet here just in case, because I don't know what happened, but StreamYard was not showing me any comments the other day when I came on for my birthday. And so I'm trying to make sure that I don't miss any questions or anything. So I kind of have my other devices here as well, just in case. So if you can type, let me know where you're here. Let me know where you're from. It's like, for instance, now it's not showing me anything. And I don't know what that's about. I do know that StreamYard did an update. And so I need to make sure that I'm good on that front. It didn't show me the comments until after I was already done. And so I want to make sure that I don't miss any questions or anything while we're on live tonight. So if you could type, let me know where you're from so we can get started. I also want to check to make sure too that I'm looking at my page to make sure everything is public. It should be. Yes, it is. Okay. So it's showing me that everything is public, but I don't see any comments. So if you could type, let me know where you're from. I just want to make sure my comments are working tonight. Because of course, if I can't see your questions, I can't answer them. So I think that would be kind of what you call it for me. I'll be trying to do magic tricks on here, trying to figure out what people are saying. So I just want to make sure that I'm able to see everything. So don't mind me. I'm not distracted. I just want to make sure I can see, because right now I still cannot see any comments. So I want to make sure, and it's showing me people are on, but it's not showing me any comments. So I need people to type. So, okay. Maureen, I see you from Milwaukee. Thank you so much. Wisconsin. Oh, God, I know it's cold. If I'm complaining about snow here and I'm in New Jersey, I already know Wisconsin, I'm sure, is very cold. Very, very, very cold. So I pray that all is well out there. If you guys can type somewhere in the comments for me, I just want to make sure that I see everything. Everything, so when you guys are posting questions, I'm able to see it. So like, for instance, it's saying, okay, all right, don't know what's going on, guys, but I do see a few. I do see a few. I'm sorry, you guys, if that's what you call it. If you're here, I need you to type so I'll know, because I don't know what's going on. But it's showing me I have people on, but I only saw Maureen's comments so far. So good evening, everyone. I'm excited about what's happening in this time in this season. Of course, I just want to take this opportunity to say again, thank you to everyone who wished me a happy birthday on last week. I'm really excited about turning 45. I was excited about turning 40, honestly. 40, it's like you really just don't care. You don't take no mess. And honestly, with that, it gave me a newfound confidence and boldness that I appreciate. And so I'm just really excited now that I'm turning 45, because again, that is also helping me understand and evolve and things of that nature. So I'm just really excited about that. So tonight is just really centered around some of the questions that I've received via inbox. text message, things of that nature. Also, of course, taking questions live, because at the end of the day, people have questions and I try to answer as much as possible. The one thing that I want to explain that happens with Facebook, when people send you messages and they're not your friend, Facebook throws them into this bucket of messages, and but then it doesn't send you an alert that you have a message. And so when I get a chance to go over there, I look, and some people have sent me messages like a month ago that I have never seen. And so again, I do want to apologize. I went over those messages yesterday. I try to answer everyone back. But again, if you're not my friend on Facebook, when you send me a DM, it goes into this bucket, especially if you send it to my personal page. So at this time, I'm going to advise everyone, if you are not my friend on Facebook and you're sending me messages or you want to send me messages, please go over to my business page, which is at Coach Sharon here on Facebook, and like and set notifications. Hi, Lisa. And set notifications for that page, because when you send me inboxes from that page, they automatically come to me. When you send me inboxes to my personal page, it is very hard for me to get those messages. Facebook does not even give me an alert that someone has sent me a message who is not my friend. So I just want to make sure that you guys know that, because some people had some questions about things that were going on their job, some disciplinary issues, some, HR issues, some other things. And I wasn't able to answer those as timely as I would if you use my business page. So again, my business page is strolling here on the bottom of the screen. It's at Coach Sharon. Sharon is SHERRON here on Facebook. Also, I'm on Instagram. You can DM me also on Instagram. Instagram allows me to get my messages right away as well. So if you have any questions, any concerns, whatever, you can definitely inbox me on my business pages so they'll come directly to me. Again, I know I have a lot of followers on my personal page. However, when you send me inboxes to my personal page, it kicks into this bucket that I never really get to see until like a month or so later. So I wanted to put that disclaimer up. So tonight is Ask Dr. C. And again, I wanted to make myself available. I know every week I have someone come up and we talk about a topic based on some of the things that you guys wanted me to talk about. But I also know too, based on a lot of the inboxes I get, that sometimes you guys just want me to talk and you want to just get information from me. And I try my best to do that when you guys send me messages, but also I felt like I would come on the platform and have that conversation. Hey, North Carolina. So as I stated, I celebrated my 45th birthday, and some of the lessons that I've learned in the last year, because someone asked me, like, what lessons did you learn in the pandemic? And for those of you who don't know, I have been home with my kids since March of last year. I work in New York City, but I live in New Jersey. And so I have been out of the office since the end of February-ish or so, beginning of March. And so I have been home. I work remote. My children are full-time virtual remote at home. And I do a lot of other things. My Instagram page is at Coach Sharon. Is also the same thing. So Facebook and Instagram is the same thing, at Coach Sharon all together. I'm on Twitter at Coach_Sharon. And also YouTube at Coach Sharon. So any of those places you guys can find me. Actually, while I'm telling you guys all of this other stuff about where you can find me, I am so excited to share, because I want you guys to feel like I'm touchable, that I'm reachable. I'm not no special person. And what I mean by that is, I just come and talk to you guys every week because you guys know this is what God told me to do. And so in my obedience of trying to help people, this is what I do every single week. However, I want to be as touchable and as reachable as possible, because I ain't no celebrity. I'm just a Black woman from Newark who one day said, you know what, I don't want to be mediocre and I really just want to help people. And as I learn, I'm going to pour out and give it to other people. So with that, I decided that I needed to create an environment where people could get directly to me. Of course, I have an office administrator, which I'm excited about, but I want people to feel like that they could get directly to me. And as I explained earlier, depending on social media is really hard. And so I'm excited to share that I have created the C-Suite Society. So let me explain to you guys what the C-Suite Society is. Well, you guys know I am Dr. C, so of course it had to be a C in the acronym somewhere. So the C-Suite Society is just basically a community that I created so people can get to me, that I can share information, that I could share tips, where I could share wisdom, where when I do classes, all of this information, you'll get it firsthand. And so you don't have to keep searching through my social media pages or searching through all of these things that I'm doing. You would have a direct access to me because I have created my own community, which I am so excited about. So you can actually subscribe now to get on our mailing list. I am going to post that in the chat, I believe, and hopefully it gets to everybody. If not, I know I got a few people who are on here. If you could kind of pin it to the top, if you're on Facebook, I don't think you can pin on YouTube or pin on Twitter, but if you, soon as you send the link, if you can pin it to the top so people can go in, you have to subscribe and you have to register. So what I'm basically doing is there's a lot of things that I cannot do and I cannot talk about on social media, but they're necessary to talk about. And so I have created the C-Suite Society, which is an exclusive group, a community to help people become the chief executive officers of their own lives. A lot of times we're depending on other people to get us somewhere that if we just get the tools, we can get there themselves. You guys know that my focus is on giving people strategies to help them to get to practical implementation. So I'm not trying to give people 5 steps to freedom or 10 steps to success. What I'm doing is not only giving you steps, but giving you strategy and tools for implementation. But again, I can't do all of that here on social media because again, there's just certain topics that I am not able to cover live because they are so sensitive. And honestly, people don't want people in their business. Let's be honest. I don't want people in my business, especially if it's a sensitive subject. So you have to subscribe in order to be added to the mailing list, in order to be a part of this society. I have some exciting things that I am working on that are only going to be available if you're a part of the C-Suite Society. And again, you don't have to pay for it. Only thing you have to do is subscribe. You'll have direct access to me. You'll be on the email list. You'll be on the text list. So then I'm sending you text messages about what's happening. I'll send you text messages on tools and things that are going on. Honestly, how a lot of you guys know me is through my HR experience. So I'm able to then be able to share certain things in the C-Suite Society that I can't necessarily share publicly because again, I am an HR professional and there are certain things that I can share and there are certain things that I want to share that I am not privy to share because it may jeopardize some of the other things that I'm working on. So again, the link is there. If someone can pin it to the top, if you're on Facebook, if you're on any of my other platforms, it's in the link somewhere and I'll make sure I post it, but you have to subscribe in order to get the information. And so I'm just really excited about the C-Suite Society. It is just something that I believe is going to be awesome. Again, you'll get information about my products, my classes, some day-to-day things as well as we are evolving. But again, I had to create a place that's safe for people. And although social media, we're up here all the time, social media isn't necessarily safe. And honestly, at any time, somebody could just cut you completely off. You know, we know that happened to 45, where he got completely cut off of all social media in a matter of minutes, and therefore was no longer able to connect to people. And I don't want that to happen to me, and I want to be able to connect to you. So again, if you go to the link is, I just posted it. Somebody pinned it up. You need to subscribe to the C-Suite Society. That's where it's going to happen. That's where I'm going to be doing my private Zoom classes. That's where I'm going to be having private one-on-one consultations and sessions. It's going to happen there because, again, everything can't happen on social media because everything isn't for everybody. So I wanted to make sure that I said that before we get into some of these questions. Again, the C-Suite Society, if you have any questions about it, I'll do a flyer or something probably in the next day or so. You guys know I got a full-time job and 2 kids and a husband and a bunch of other things. So I'll get it together, and I'm building a website and all these other things. So y'all pray for me. So I'm really excited that I get to share. So one of the questions that came up is because there's so many things that I do. People are asking, how do I do it all? And I'm going to be honest and say that I have a delegation issue. I am great at delegating to my staff on my job. On my secular job, I am great at delegating. I'll be like, okay, you do this, I do this, whatever. Y'all know my hair be always in my face. All of that. But when it comes to my vision and the things that I have my hands to do, I find it difficult to delegate. And that's because sometimes I really don't have the full fruition of what I'm trying to do. I just have an idea or a thought. And so what I would say is, if above everything else, how do I do everything? I really do talk it out. I try to talk it out. I journal. I have a notebook here. I write everything down. Of course, my notebook has rhinestones or whatever. Y'all know I like diamonds, glitter, all that. I love it. And so I write everything down. So that is how I stay on task. And there are certain things that I write down that are not for now. They may be for 2022, but I write everything down. Everything that's a dream, everything that's a vision for my business, everything that I believe I want to accomplish in my business is in a notebook. I write it down. And so as I do things, I check them off. So sometimes I am asleep and I get an idea and I'm not getting out of my bed to write in a notebook, but my phone is nearby. So I'll go into my notepad and write it down and then transfer it to this book the next day. So that is how I stay on task. So people ask me all the time, you do so many things, like, are you a superwoman? I believe every woman is a superwoman because we know how to multitask. The key is not forgetting ourselves or losing ourselves in it and making sure that we're not wasting time. So I am a stickler for not wasting time. I don't like wasting anybody's time, and I do not like someone to waste my time. So I try to write everything down. So that's a question that came that I wanted to say to you guys, write it down. And I know some people refer to it with scripture, like write the vision and make it plain. The thing is, not only do I write it down, but I actually go through it and do things. Because sometimes people are writing things down and then you don't do anything with it. So you have to write it down and then you have to actually do something with what you wrote down. For instance, like I just said to you guys, I am now working on my website. This is something I was supposed to have been doing for a while now, but I made a decision that I gave myself a deadline that I need to work on my website and it needs to be done by this particular time. This is something that's been in my book since last year. I just never started it. Now is no, I need to get it done and I need to get it done now. And so now I had to put things in place in order to make that happen. You guys know I have a doctorate degree. I'm doing my own editing and all of that other stuff for my website because I believe I'm a good writer. And so I'm doing all of that stuff myself on top of still doing my full-time job and still being a parent, still being a wife and all of those other things. And so I say that to say prioritize. I also say write it down, but actually do something with it. Don't just let stuff sit and wait. Actually do something with it. So another question that came to me is because someone was asking, like, how Am I homeschooling my kids? I have to be honest, y'all. I'm not really homeschooling them. They're here with me, but I'm not homeschooling them. So that's something that someone asked me. I wanted to be honest. They're on Zoom all day long with their teachers. They change classes. They're in first grade and second grade. Y'all, listen, I can't keep up. They're in first grade and second grade. So from 8 a.m. to like 12, they're on with their main teacher on Zoom. Like they take frequent breaks to kind of give themselves breaks from the blue light from the screen. But also then in the afternoons, they have Spanish, they have gym. They're doing gym on Zoom, but there's an actual teacher on with them the entire day. So no, I am not homeschooling. I just try to keep them on task to make sure they come back from their breaks. I cook breakfast, I do lunch, I make sure they have snacks. That's kind of what I'm doing. I'm like the lunch lady. So I don't sit down and actually do work with them. So someone asked that question. So I just wanted to make sure I clear that up. They're here with me, but I'm not doing all of that. So I'm blessed. But I wanted to make sure that I answer that question. Someone else also asked you because people are in this pandemic, people have realized they've tapped into their creativity. They've tapped into, I believe God has called me to do this. So people have started boutiques. People have started selling paparazzi. People have started consulting businesses. People have started so many different things that I think are great. Like that we're tapping into our creativity. But someone asked me about entrepreneurship when it comes to leaving your job, your secular job, in order to be a full-time entrepreneur. And someone asked me, was that my mission or my goal? And at this particular time, I always say, because I like to be honest, I don't mind working for someone else. I do not mind working a secular job. That's because I have always had an entrepreneurial mindset. I have an entrepreneurial mindset, even though I work for someone else. That means that what's here belongs to me. My intellectual property, what I bring to a position, all of that is mine. I own it. And so with that, I am an entrepreneur, meaning that my intellectual property and what I bring to a position is what is the asset, which means when I'm there, it's there. When I leave, it goes with me. It belongs to me. And that's why educating yourself, whether it be you take online classes, you do a trade or whatever, is so important, because your intellectual property is what prepares you for entrepreneurship. So my thing is, I don't go into it where it's, oh my God, I clock in and I work for this person. It's I work for me, meaning that I do what I love to do for this specific company. When my time is up there, me and all my intellectual property leaves and goes somewhere else. Yes, I do things on the side. That's why I'm here talking to you guys. I do consulting and all of these other things. But at the end of the day, I am an entrepreneur because I work with this. I have a skill. I'm an expert in what I do. And so a lot of times people are like, well, I don't want to work for anybody else. And I don't knock that at all. I don't knock that at all. But what I will say is, for people who do work for someone else, don't automatically cut yourself off as not being an entrepreneur, because if you really truly get an understanding of what human capital in general, employees are an asset to an organization. That's why, and I've done research on this, a book is coming. So I've done research on this, but employees are an asset to an organization. Why? Because if all of the employees decided tomorrow to walk off the job, the actual company cannot do nothing, period. So that's first and foremost. When you see yourself as an asset to an organization, that already gives you the confidence that's needed in entrepreneurship. Every time I go to a company, I go there with the intention of me learning something, me bringing something, and me taking something with me. Those are my three goals. Me bringing something there, me learning something, and me taking something with me. Why? Because at the end of the day, every learning experience, first of all, every culture has a different learning experience. If there just so happens to be one day where I am totally not working for anybody, it's all about Sharon LLC, I'm cool with that too. But I already have the mindset of I work for me. And when I don't want to do that anymore, then it's deuces. So I don't want people to limit themselves or feel like, because let's be honest, full entrepreneurship. Don't act like you don't see me. I see you. I see you. I see you. But full entrepreneurship, meaning that you leave a job and go somewhere else and you start building your own stuff or whatever, it's not easy. And it's not for the faint at heart. I'm not saying I'm not built for that. What I'm saying to you is everybody's running around talking about how they want to be entrepreneurs, but you have to have grit for that. Grit. Like you got to, a lot of my friends are entrepreneurs, meaning they don't work for nobody else. This their own gig. And I have seen them work tirelessly. I've seen tears. I've seen people not be able to pay their bills. I've seen all of that. I've seen it. And so I know what it takes to do. I'm just not there right now. And nor do I know if I'm ever going to be. So my thing is, so what I do is I use the resources that I have from working a full-time job to assist in funding what I'm doing in my entrepreneurial exploits. So that's how I see it. I work to fund the things that I am doing that then bring in extra money. So that's kind of how I operate. But someone asked me that question. Again, I don't know what God has for me. If he says to me one day, okay, Sharon, this is it, you got to quit, then that's what I got to do because that's who I trust. And so I wanted to make sure that I said that because, of course, people automatically like, well, why do you work for somebody? And you should just quit. The money that I make there is good money. I have great benefits. And when I say great, I have great benefits. I cover my full family for medical, dental, all these other great things or whatever. Like my husband works, but I told him, oh, don't do that because my plan is this. We get all of this. So all of those things go into play because there are a lot of people who are saying, oh, great, I work for myself. I got my own business, but you don't have no medical insurance. So if you get COVID or something happens to you, now you got a doctor bill that can bankrupt you because you're going to have to file for bankruptcy because you can't cover your medical bills. So I just say that to say, think about all of that before you start going around quitting jobs. You got to be financially secure, or you need to have a spouse or someone who can put you on their insurance. Because again, these are some of the things you have to think about. Insurance is scarce these days, and they're not just giving Medicaid, Medicare, or whatever to everybody. And who knows what the future holds, even with those systems. So I just say that to say that as you're transitioning and thinking about things, think about that. Think about insurance. Think about life insurance. Think about, dental. Now, I do know, and dental is my pet peeve because I know a lot of people be like, oh, I don't need dental insurance. A lot of people first of all, everybody needs dental insurance, especially if you're an entrepreneur. And you are doing business with people and you are your spokesperson, you need dental insurance. I'm just going to leave it there. But I know I don't want somebody talking to me and I can't get past their grill. I'm just being honest. Like, I don't know how people do it. I can't. I try. But, I'm grateful now for Zoom. Like, we're not meeting people in person. But I cannot get past the grill. If your grill is jacked up and we trying to talk business, that's very hard for me. So I'm just being honest. I can't. So, so I just say that to say, don't skip on insurances and clearly do not skip on dental insurance. So, I don't know if any questions were in the chat. I didn't see any as of yet or whatever. But again, I did get some inboxes and some of the things, honestly, that have come to me, especially since the new year, that questions that people had or whatever. Another question that came to me, and someone, I responded to her the other day, because there are some jobs that are making people get the COVID vaccine. And, she said to me, my job is telling me that I have to get the COVID vaccine, that I'm an essential worker. However, I was not an essential worker when they were giving out that hazard pay. So, of course, I ended up getting back to her late. I didn't get back to her in time because, again, that's one of those things where it came to my mailbox but went into like a spam. So what I will say to anyone who's experiencing that is to do your research. Also, too, the COVID vaccine is made up of things, just like the flu vaccine. I do believe that anybody who's like allergic to eggs and stuff like that is not even going to be able to take the vaccine anyway. So, because you can't take something you're allergic to. So I would just say, for people who've been asking me that question, is can my job make me take the vaccine? You need to do as much research as possible. I do know a lot of people who work in the medical field. This is something that they're mandating. Again, everyone has their opinions on the vaccination. I'm not going to give you mine, because I know people just do what's best for you. That's what I would say on that. But as far as jobs mandating the vaccination, I would say if they're mandating you and you do not want to take the vaccination, you need to do all your research before you start going off. Find out why they're mandating it. Also find out what happens if you don't get it. Also find out what is in the vaccination that you probably can't get or whatever. Are there any stipulations that would make you exempt from getting the vaccine? Again, ask all of those questions, because there are going to be some employers, and I do know of some that are mandating it. Right now, it's pretty much more or less healthcare facilities, nursing homes, things of that nature, all of these helping professions in the medical field, which are requiring people to get the vaccination. Again, you have to do your research. So I know people have asked me, it depends on your state, it depends on the company. Like, for instance, I'm just going to use this as an example. If you work for a company that didn't do a physical when you were hired, you work for a company that does no drug testing, and then all of a sudden they talk about they're going to mandate a vaccination, I think you need to question that. Because you didn't care about my health when I got hired, you didn't do a health exam, then you probably got a bunch of drug addicts up in there because you didn't do a drug test. I'm just using this as an example. But now all of a sudden, because there's a vaccination out, you mandating me to take a vaccination. At that point, you may have a case, meaning you may have an argument. I ain't talking about go sue the place. I'm saying you may have an argument as to why you should not take the vaccination. Again, that is a personal choice. Some people have chosen to take it. Some people are absolutely positively ain't about that life. And so I would say it's a personal choice. If you ask me, now this is just my opinion about me, I am not interested in getting the vaccination at this time. I am not saying that I will never get it. I will say at this particular time, I am not interested, and I will stay in my hole in my home as long as possible. That's my opinion about the vaccine. So also too, because I'm curious, and I meant to put the question out there, but I wanted to find out from anybody, specifically anybody who works for federal, when they didn't take out that money. No, when they took that money out of, when they gave you the money for the Social Security or whatever, and now that Donald Trump is no longer president, I was wondering what has been happening with people's paychecks who were mandated to participate in the program where you had to get the money and then you pay it back. So if there's anybody out there whose job mandated them to opt into that federal thing that we talked about a few months ago, and now that we're in 2021, I want to know, are you paying it back now that he's no longer president, or did they make it obsolete? Like, you don't have to worry about it now. I am curious about that because I have not heard anything about that. And I know President Biden that's another story for another day, but he's dealing with a lot of things right now. But I'm just curious for anybody who was mandated to participate in that program that Trump put in place prior to him in September of last year, whether or not now if you're paying that money back and how are you paying it back. So I'm just interested in that if there's anybody who's doing any of that. I just want to talk to you to kind of get an idea, because you're a real life person. Like, I don't want to read a report of what is telling me is happening. I really would love to talk to a real life person about whether or not it's affected them. It has not affected them. They aren't taking the money. They are taking the money. You're going to have to pay it through taxes. Like, I'm just curious as to kind of how all of that is being administered. So those are the questions that came to me. Again, I don't see any questions in the chat, I don't think. But those are some of the questions that came to me. Again, that vaccination piece, I'm not going to deep dive too much into that. I would just say, again, do what's best for you. I do know that a lot of places, because, you know, all my listeners are from different places. I know some states are open, some states are closed. Some states doing this, some states doing that, or whatever. I would just say to continue to be careful. There is another strand that they're saying is out there. So that's another reason why, too, I'm kind of iffy on the vaccination piece. Because, again, I don't know if the vaccination is going to help anything. Or is it just like the flu vaccination, which is, it doesn't cure anything. It just helps in hopes that you don't get it. But then if you do get it, like that part of it too, I really don't have an understanding about, because like I know with the flu vaccination, you can still get the flu with the flu vaccination because they try to guess the strand of the flu that's happening that season. And if it's a different strand, you could possibly still get the flu. So now that we know that COVID has different strands, I'm just curious as to how they're going to do that. Or is it they want us to kind of get it all the time, or what that looks like. So I don't know. So that's kind of my tidbit for tonight. Again, I am excited about the Sweet Seat Society. For those of you guys who were not on, you of course can rewind and go back to the beginning of the tape. But again, it's just an exclusive society that I have created to be able to touch and meet and talk to people directly. Although I love doing it here on social media, there are a lot of things that we really need to talk about that are happening that I cannot talk about on social media. This is just not the platform to have some of the conversations that I believe that are necessary for people to really truly get strategies to practically implement some of the things that we need to implement in our lives. And I just don't believe that, although how great social media is, I just don't believe it's the platform to do everything. I believe it's a great platform, but you just can't do everything here. Sometimes people just want to ask you questions, and that's why I did this tonight. But people want to hear a dialogue. They kind of want to talk back and forth to you. And I do believe that the Sweet Sweet Society will be able to do that for people. Again, if you would like to sign up, the link is in the chat. I'm also going to post it kind of everywhere for everyone to sign up for the subscription mailing list. Again, it's an exclusive society to help you become the chief executive officer of your own life. So now you won't keep depending on people for advice. Not saying that we don't need it, but for you to really take a leadership role in the life that you live. And that is my goal, that people don't just sit by and watch life happen, but you actually make life happen for yourself. So again, thank you guys all so much for being on with me tonight. Again, I hope I answered the questions that I did receive. If again you have any questions, shoot me a DM on my public page, which is at Coach Sherron. That's SHERRON. That's on all social media platforms, on my Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Again, you can shoot me DMs on any of those, but I would suggest you just subscribe, because then we can have that dialogue. You'll be on the email list. I'll be able to then bring you into the community and also send you text messages and all those other good things that I'm excited about. Because again, we know this phone is how we connect with the world. And so I want to make sure that I am connecting with you in every way possible. So again, tag, like, and share. Tell your friends about the C-Suite Society. I'm just excited about what we're going to talk about. I'm going to be bringing in experts. I'm going to be bringing in guests, because again, it's a secret community. I can't have everything out there for everybody. It's unfortunate, but it's just the way life is now. And so I want to make sure that I create a space where people can get the information they need in order to take it and run with it. So again, thank you guys so much. I've been on about 40 so minutes, so I'm about to hang it up because I'm exhausted, and I'm excited because hopefully everything is together so I can do some work on my website tonight. So I love you all so much, and thank you so much for tuning in. Next week, we will be back with our barbershop conversation. Next week, I have 2 men who are going to be on with me. I am excited, and we're going to talk about love. What else? February is Love Month. We know next Sunday is Valentine's Day. So on Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to be back here for a barbershop conversation where I'm going to talk to a male panel about love. What is love to men? What does it mean to be in love to a man? What does it mean to seek love to a man, for a man? So I want to know. And I'm sure you're going to want to know, what is love? Because I'm telling you, love for a woman is totally different than what love is for a man. And I'm excited because we have a panel next week that is going to come on. They're transparent. They are articulate. And what I mean by that is they're going to share. And that's why I'm focused on finding men who are going to share, not just share their expertise, but share their hearts with the people, because I believe in authenticity and I believe in transparency. And so anyone that I'm going to bring on this platform has to speak to those things. So then you can really get what you need in order to move into your daily life. So again, next Monday, I am dropping the flyer in a little bit. So tag, like, and share that as well to all of the men in your life, all of the women who are trying to get an understanding of what do I need to do in order to find love, and what are men looking for when they're looking for love, and how do they feel when they're in love. We're going to talk about that next Monday. So I am so excited about it. Again, I'll be dropping the flyer, the video, and all those other things you guys know tonight, probably in about another hour or so. So tag, like, and share that. Again, I love you all. Don't forget, subscribe to the C-Suite Society. I look forward to working with you guys. Take care. Good night. Bye.